being a loser is a state of mind. Everybody loses. But just because you lose, that doesn't make you a loser. Just because you lose things, it doesn't make you a loser. You're only a loser if you lose yourself. The moment you lose yourself, even if you got the whole world, you become a loser. Because the most essential part of you is gone. And there's no amount of materials, there's no amount of money, there's no amount of partners that can patch that hole, that can fill in that void, that can sew you back together. Now, we're like stuffed animals. And if the right circumstance cuts our psyche open, then all the stuffing is going to come out of what's been crammed into the mind. And a lot of times we don't notice this happening offline because it's closed off offline. More of the expression is online. You see people having online freakouts, online breakouts, online breakdowns. You see all of this stuff being portrayed online is active. They're working through whatever they're going through, but that transmutation is a live transmission. So just please be careful how you navigate in this big energy field, in this quantum sea of different energies and different perspectives, different ideals, because all of this affects the grid, and whatever affects the grid can affect you. But even more importantly, everything you do not only can, but always does affect the entire grid. This is what we call controlling your luck. We're under this illusion that some bad always has to follow good. There's always something. We're waiting for the other shoe to drop. No, you're making the other shoe drop by anticipating. You're anticipating the fall off. You're anticipating it. You could be like Job. When he lost everything, we spent years searching for whatever sin it was, and it wasn't pride. It was fear of loss. And he said, finally, the thing that I fear most has come upon me. Well, why was he fearing it most when he was an upright man? There was no need to have this fear, but this fear he kept alive, and it became real. It gave Satan a job to do, because he's just walking throughout earth, throughout heaven, just looking for anybody who's signing off, anybody who's signing out from their destiny, anybody who's signing out. The dark forces are looking for. And before you give the dark forces a bad name, and before you make this an overly religious thing, just understand what I say in other videos. These demons, dark entities, they're custodians. They're custodians. The only pro and con, the only antagonists and protagonists is human beings. Those are really the ones. Angels and demons and gods and all of that kind of stuff, they're agencies of a different dimension. So you can't put any of the blame on any of these things, but it's people. That's the intermediary. This is where your judgments come. You can't judge a demon. And the scriptures say that, don't you know that you shall judge angels? But you're not judging angels now. And if you don't know enough about basic earthly laws, how can you judge angels who operate by heaven's laws? A lot of people don't know what heaven's laws are in the religious communities, because for one, they don't know their scriptures well enough to see where heaven's laws are in there. And then they probably don't read other books. They might be pigeonholed into one sacred text, and they may not read around. They might be going to Barnes and Nobles for that same book, going to the library to check out that one book, when there's a whole library of information, but they only want a thimble versus the entire ocean of experience around them. Super T Sigma, keep expanding.